Everyone talks about cash flow, recycling deposits, passive income, but very few actually tell you what makes a HMO really successful. After building a £4 million portfolio of high-performing HMOs within 3 years, I have realized there are a few key ingredients that separate the average landlords from the real winners. And today, I am revealing exactly what that is. So in today's world, there are a lot of HMOs on the market, and some might even say there's saturation in the market because there's so many HMOs in some of these towns and cities. So we've got to do things that allow us to stand out. So the first thing I would say when it comes to building a HMO portfolio is you want to create a product that has a unique selling point. Like, what is the feature that stands out? What about your HMO makes people want to select your HMOs over other people? So a big factor in this is your interior design. So how are you designing your HMOs, and how are you thinking about the user that's going to be using this property? Like, what is it that you're putting in this property? So I'm big on, like, you've got to think about your design solution when you're creating these HMOs. You can go and do your competitor analysis and look at what the marketplace is offering. For example, this is a method. So we want to see what these crappy landlords are doing in these investment areas and how we can have an edge over these landlords in terms of providing a better accommodation for our tenants that we're going to have in this property. So that little bit extra bit of work is going to set you miles apart from the current landlords who maybe don't care, have lost the drive to even pay attention to what's happening with their HMOs. And for me, that's coming into the market and looking at how we can improve the aesthetics of these HMOs that are being put into the marketplace, because this will set you apart. When someone sees your picture being marketed for your rooms or your properties, they're going to be like, this is miles apart from what's currently in stock. And will grab attention, will book more viewings for yourself, and likely get you more tenants than the other landlords in the investment area. I also like to look at the functionality of the rooms. This is a big factor. So how are we functionally creating rooms for our tenant to utilize these rooms? So this could be as simple as how are we laying out a TV in the room compared to the bed? Where's the desk and the chair going? People that are working from home, like, where's that being placed alongside the room? Is there space enough to walk around the bed? Is the bedside table has a functionality to be able to turn the lights off from the bedside? These are all the things that are going to set you apart and create a HMO that provides you income for time to come. We want to design solutions that are providing great user experiences. And again, this is what's going to set you apart from current landlords, because a lot of these landlords aren't paying attention. Trust me. Like, if you want to come to the market, for me, saturation can be a talked about subject, but I don't believe it's a thing, because saturation for me is a marketing problem. Like, what's your unique selling point? How can you capture market share? That's how you beat saturation. So for me, saturation proves the concept that something actually is working, because my argument is like, hey, why is there water brands coming out every single day? Why is there bread brands still coming out? People are coming in because they find a different angle, they find a unique way which they're going to still capture the market, because they know people need water, people want to buy bread. With anything, any product, think of products are always being created in the marketplace that already exists. Saturation for me is not a term that I believe in. I just believe there's a way to combat saturation, and it proves that it's a good market to go into, because there's enough products that have proven that this stuff works and it's desirable. It's just, how do you solve the problem of becoming the next desirable thing in that marketplace to capture some of that share? So another thing I like to consider when it comes to HMOs is, what are your systems and processes you have in place to manage your HMOs and build out your HMOs even? What I mean by this is, with HMOs, there's a lot of management involved. So how solid is your management team to be able to deal with the churn of tenants, maintenance of tenants? You as an investor, you don't want to be involved in the day-to-day of dealing with tenants, renewing contracts and taking payments of rent, or even doing viewings, none of that stuff, or even the maintenance which will happen from time to time on your property. So, like, what is the process? Are you letting your agents take free will in terms of going out there and resolving this for you? I literally give my agents the go ahead to do all of this stuff for me, and don't want to get you involved the slightest. Literally, if the house is burning down, something major happens structurally to the property, they can pretty much handle whatever the problem is. So why do I need to get involved? Especially when I'm paying them a fee to manage my property, I want them to do work. So let them work and do what they're good at, which is resolve these issues and keep me out of it. I believe I'm a business owner. I am here to scale the property portfolio, look at doing more opportunities, raising capital. That's why I want to put my energy and strengths to, not the day-to-day management of the portfolio. That's not my role. So look, I know a lot of people talk about wanting to work with myself. There is a link in the description if you're wanting to work with myself to help you build out your HMO portfolio, if that's of interest. So what I would say is, if you've got some capital around you, at least 20 to 30,000 pounds around you to be able to get the ball rolling, then feel free to book a call with myself or my team to discuss how we can help you build out your HMO portfolio. The next point I would say is buying on great streets. This is so undervalued, because people, I know it's very cliche to say, buy on a good street, but what I mean by this is, when you're out in the marketplace trying to find your opportunity or find your next deal to basically buy, the better streets come at a premium, and And for me, I always argue I'd rather pay the premium for the better street than even try and get below market value deal on a property which is not on such a great street. It's just an average street. People say they want to get below market value deal and maybe ignore the better streets because maybe they're a bit more pricey. But I always say, like, buying on a better street will pay dividends long term, will allow you to survive the storm in terms of, like, if there's downturn in the market, allow you to rent your properties a lot easier because they're way more desirable streets. And there's opportunity for you to charge even more to live on that street because, again, these are premium streets, so people are going to pay to live more. And that might not even necessarily be the case, but you have that advantage if you are having your HMOs on great streets that people want to live on. When people come and migrate, guess what? They want to live on the best streets possible. So the letting of your properties when people are leaving are going to be super easy. I've got properties on some incredible streets that, like, literally when people leave, there's someone walking in a couple of days after they've left. The point is, having properties on great streets are going to serve you long term, and it's the kind of mindset you want to have. How can I keep making money for the years to come, 5-10 years time? Making money today is, I always say, is like the easiest thing you can ever do. Like, anyone can make money today, right? But in 5 years time, the market could change, and if you haven't bought on the right streets, this is where you get exposed because maybe you can't pivot because you haven't bought on the right street. So these are all the angles which you need to be able to kind of accommodate and just think long term, like, how do I see my portfolio standing if things turn the other way? If I haven't seen the potential of this property for it to be able to pivot to other strategies or have it in a great location where I've got more opportunity, demographic of tenants, whatever it is, that's what's giving you the edge to be able to weather any storms. And that's what you're trying to buy as an asset. That's a performing asset for a long time to come. And so that's a mindset you need to adopt when you're looking at buying your properties. So the next thing I would say is having a solid team, and paying the premium to get the A players will pay dividends long term. Trying to cut corners in HMO development is not for the faint-hearted. You'll just end up paying more in maintenance costs down the line of the years of holding the property. You want to make sure you're doing things right. So coming from your build team to your architects to your structural engineers, even like building control, like lenders, like I've pretty much put a team together that pretty much know each other. It just allows us to fast track our scaling of building up portfolio because everyone knows each other, they know how each other works. So everyone's kind of gelled together, they know each other. We're not changing team members much. It's very close-knit team that everyone has been exposed to and I've worked with before. Everything just works seamlessly with very little involvement for myself. And I think that's the big part. Like, we should be business owners. We're not landlords. I hate the term. If someone call me landlord, I get upset because I'm like, I'm not a landlord. I don't see myself as a landlord. I see myself as a business owner. I'm operating a business. I'm operating a portfolio of properties that I own. I want to empower my team to be able to do things without my involvement because they are the experts. Yes, I need to steer them on what I want doing, but from a point of view, like, if there's issues and stuff, I want them to come up with the solutions and for me to directly say, yeah, I want to do this or I don't want to do this. And I think this is the best solution out of the ones we've got available to us. And that's what I'm employing my team to help with when it comes to any issues that arises alongside this property investment journey. Investing in that team, taking your time to get the right people on board your team will pay dividends and allow you to build a portfolio that doesn't require much of your time to actually develop. So another thing I want to bring up is long-term thinking. In today's age, I see a lot of people rushing to want to get into HMOs and wanting to buy property in general, but just aren't thinking long-term. Like, property investing is a very long-term strategy. Like, you need to be thinking in tens of years, like, because assuming that you're coming into this to hold property for income, which I believe everyone should be doing because you're buying an asset which provides you income. You're going through the trouble of renovating this house. You want to at least be holding this property for 10 years minimum and receiving the income and waiting for the capital to appreciate in the property as well. That is the benefit of holding this asset. And long term, for me, I don't plan to sell. I don't want to sell my HMO portfolio. And the idea is I'm building this to hold for 20, 30, 40 years, but however long I can hold it for, I will hold. I will benefit from the capital appreciation and I will benefit from the income the property produces. So when I'm buying these properties, I'm thinking really long term, like, how am I going to survive in this marketplace? And that's why I'll pay extra to buy a property in a better street. Buying the premium assets will pay dividends long term. So I'm not quick to just grab any property because it's available in the market. I'm really trying to find the best properties possible, which has the most potential. Again, I want sizable properties. I'm not here to buy these box rooms, and I know people do 8-meter squared rooms and stuff. I run away from that stuff. I want to have sizable rooms because, again, I just understand that we are moving towards a day and age whereby people are staying inside more and more. A lot of stuff is being made available to your fingertips. You haven't got to leave your house for anything, and so people want more space. So if you've got these rooms that are tiny and boxed rooms, they're going to become redundant at some point, and the market's changing. Same way like landlords we're going to share, we're not going to provide ensuite bathrooms. The market wants ensuite bathrooms. Some even want kitchenettes. If you haven't got kitchenettes, some people are like, no, I'm not interested. I want my own kitchen facility, my own mini fridge, freezer, my own cabinet work in my room, and they're happy to pay the premium. So these are all the things you need to kind of consider when you're like long-term thinking wise, when you're applying and trying to buy HMOs. You have to think, how does my portfolio survive in the tens of years to come? It's not just about buying in today's market, because if it is, everyone can go pick up a property in the street and hope it works. But the ones that really win are the ones that think over the long term and think about how their portfolio is going to perform over the years to come.